You're listening to the Paul Young Podcast.
Hi again, everybody. If you remember, Bradley and Eden, Lori and Dwight had just walked onto the set, this large piece of property, and we're going to watch something that's going to be shot at the shack. So we sit down and make ourselves comfortable. In the movie, this is where the scene takes place. Mac has spent his first night at the shack, the transformed shack, and he's had nightmares, if you remember, if you've seen the movie. In the nightmares, he's had a flying dream, and suddenly he drops like a rock down to the earth. And he finds himself with his feet stuck in the mud, watching Missy being carried away in the distance by the perpetrator. And Missy's saying, "Daddy, Daddy, help, Daddy." And he can't move. And he wakes up from that. One thing he finds out immediately, that he's still in the shack, which is disconcerting. The second thing is he's perturbed. He's in turmoil. He's just come out of a nightmare that brought everything back. And so the next scene is the one that we watch being shot. It's him and Octavia Spencer, who plays Papa God. And Papa God has got a huge breakfast laid out on the back porch. And Mackenzie walks out, and you can see the turmoil on his face. And Papa says, "Hey, Mac, how'd you sleep?" And he says, "Fine," which is the universal Western way of saying, "I don't want to answer that question." So he says, "Fine." And Papa says, "Dreams are important. Dreams sometimes are a way of letting the bad air out, opening up the window, letting the bad air out," which is a Bruce Cockburn line from one of his songs. And he doesn't respond to it. So Papa begins to serve breakfast, although he doesn't eat anything. He's just sitting there, I think, with his arms folded. And they start a conversation. And all of his stuff starts coming up. And the conversation gets a little more heated and a little more heated until finally Papa looks at him and says, "Mackenzie, you know what your problem is? You don't believe that I'm good. Until you believe that I'm good, you're never going to trust me." He looks at her with this fury in his eyes and he says, "Why would I ever trust you? My daughter is dead and there's nothing you can do about it." And he slams the coffee cup off the table, and the director yells, "Cut! Reset!" And we are sitting in there in the video village, having just watched this, hardly breathing. And I glance toward Lori, and she is staring straight ahead. So they reset, and we watch it again. "Mackenzie, your problem is that you don't believe that I'm good. Until you believe that I'm good, you're never going to be able to trust me. Why would I ever trust you? My daughter is dead and there's nothing you can do about it." Smash the glass off the table. Reset. We watch it again. This time after it's done, Lori walks out of Video Village and I follow her. And she turns and collapses into my arms and begins to weep. And without a word, she then pushes me away, walks back into Video Village and sits down and watches this again. We watch it again and again, probably 10, 12 times. We see the same scene again and again. My daughter is dead and there's nothing you can do about it. Why should I ever trust you? Until you believe that I'm good, you can't trust me. We then break for lunch and we go over and Octavia Spencer, like nobody knows what's going on in the hearts of Dwight and Lori in the situation. Octavia comes over, Papa God, and just gives us hugs, wraps her arms around us. So does Sumi, the Holy Spirit. So does Aviv, Jesus. Then we go back and sit in Video Village. We don't know what we're going to watch now. Well, in the movie, it's right after there's been this argument in the kitchen between Papa and Mackenzie. And it got a little heated and Mackenzie storms out. And the next shot is where it starts, the one that we see. In that shot, Mackenzie's sitting on the stoop, on the porch, or the back steps or the front steps or whatever it is. Papa goes out and says, "Supper's almost ready." There's a bird up in the tree. They're looking at it. And Papa says, "See that bird, Mackenzie? That bird was created to fly, and you were created to love. Pain has a way of crippling us so that we forget what we were created for." And we're sitting in Video Village, and all of us are bawling. Pain is a way of crippling us. We forget what we were created for, and we watch it over and over and over. And then we break for supper. And the four of them say to me, "You know, our time is done. We need to go." And I walk them back to the little place where they can cross that little piece of wood. And they hug me. And Lori hugs me and she says to me, "You have no idea what this day has meant. I mean, when you watch those two scenes, think about this. We're 20 feet away, sitting in Video Village, watching those two scenes being shot. She says, you have no idea what this day has meant for me. And I'm thinking, you're right, I have no idea. I write a story for my kids, and it ends up becoming a movie. And I get invited on this particular day. And I get there, I get to spend the day with Bradley and then with Eden. But they have these friends who've got this great sadness. And I don't know where I'm going to go for the shoot, but they're spending the time up at Cultus Lake. And oh, by the way, the call sheet says that I'm going to go to Cultus Lake. And I go there and I invite my friends, or they want me to have my friends come on the set. And we sit in Video Village and watch these two scenes. Yeah, I have no idea. But there is a God who is good, who is only good, who never causes harm, but climbs into the middle of our losses and lives in us and with us as the redeeming genius begins to work things out, never violating our hearts, never violating our ability to choose, never violating our no to God, and continues to love us and move us slowly and tenderly and kindly in the direction of healing our hearts and healing our wounds. This is one little story. That day changed everything for Lori. For 3 years, I think it was, every year she would hold a little gathering up in southern British Columbia, and Bradley and I would speak together there. But it was more of a celebration, one of the most beautiful little gatherings that I've ever been a part of, and Bradley said the same thing. And she called it the Grand Embrace. She called it that because of the hug that I gave her when she was coming onto the set. And the grand embrace of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This love is for you. This love is for me. This love is the relentless embrace of affection that is slowly drawing us all into healing. Thank you for listening. If you would like to contact or connect with us with inquiries and questions, comments, suggestions, stories, and more, please visit paulyoungpodcast.com. There you will find resources and notes related to any particular episode. Today, participate with love, do the next right thing, and trust the ripples.